So it is Thursday, November 2nd. How are you doing, Miss Catherine?
Not too bad. When you said, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Wait, what are we recording?" And I was like, "I'll find out once you start talking. Either we're recording a new intro to something or we're doing the update."
I guess we're doing the update to start.
Apparently. So let's start with you. How's life going? How is your
Uh,
writing going? How is your editing? How is Texas? Not
um,
that Texas is bad, my friends, but
no, Texas is terrible. The Texas Rangers won the World Series yesterday for the first
wow,
time ever.
pretty impressive.
So I'm staying
World is
inside.
ending.
Yes, the world is ending. That's right. It's almost as weird as the Cubs winning in 2016. Um, since the Cubs hadn't won since
Since the
ni-
GOAT.
1900 something.
Was it the
So
GOAT or was that the Mets?
that's the Mets.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the Mets. I don't know. I'm not a big. Maybe it's the Yankees. No, it's not the
No,
Yankees.
it's not the Yankees. It was either the Cubs or the Mets.
No, it's
Because I remember there was this big thing about the GOAT and that they were cursed and couldn't win because someone didn't allow the GOAT in. And I don't remember if it's the Mets or the Cubs.
maybe it was the Cubs. Don't at me. I don't remember.
But it was like 1906 or something. And they were like, "Oh, it's been like 100 years and they lost the last one because of the GOAT." I think it was the Cubs, but it could be the
Oh
Mets. I don't know, guys. I'm not
no,
I'm
the
not a
Mets
sports person.
the Mets won in '63, so or '69 rather.
Oh, okay.
So it probably wasn't the Mets.
Um,
It was probably the
it was
Cubs.
the Cubs.
Anyway,
Curse
so
of the GOAT.
writing is not happening because I'm spending all my time editing for a client, um, and I'm enjoying what he's writing. Um, but I'm being very meticulous about it, and so it's taking a long time. Um, so that's um, it's a good story so far, but you know it is what it is. So I'm tracking the number of hours that I spend, and I'm surprised at how long I'm spending. But um, that is how these things go. But uh, the gentleman has paid for my services, and he's going to get them. So anyway, then the writing is not going anywhere. It's second day in Nano, and I'm not messing with it. So
Mm.
I had planned to do instead of 50,000 words, I'd planned to do 50,000 seconds, but I don't want to spend the time. I want to spend that time on the client work. So I'm going to do that instead. Um, I think that's the more important of the projects. Today, my big project is to well, yesterday my big project was to take out trash. Um, so clean my house because it desperately needed it. Today, the big project is to sit down and do my finances because I haven't done that. I'm a week behind on doing that. I do that every 2 weeks when I get paid, but I got paid last week and I didn't do it. So
Okay.
yeah, it's overdue, and some of the bills may be overdue, and I need to not do that. So, um, but that's how it's going for me. What's up with you?
Well, a lot. So this week has been insanity. First off, it was Halloween, and I work with children. And how can I not dress up for Halloween?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I wear wizard hats all through October, which was a lot of fun. If I didn't wear it on a day or forgot it in the car, my kids would yell at me about it. They'd be like, "What? No witch today? I thought you were a witch." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I'll go get it. Like, chill." So, so I dressed up as a Viking witch, and I really wish I had gotten a picture of the makeup I did because it's the first time I've worn makeup in about 10 years. And beautiful look. I had this cool gold tattoo that ran across my whole face. It was all blacked out with beautiful smoky eyes, which I've never been able to do before, but nailed it perfectly. Yeah, like perfect looks. Turns out I am still as allergic to makeup as I was 10 years ago. So within about half an hour, I started to react to it. My eyes wouldn't stop itching. Um, it felt like someone had punched me in the face. And then I also found out that on top of that, with my reaction happening, I also had a sinus infection. So not only was my whole face vibrating anyway and pulsating, but it was also all now puffy and swollen because of an allergic reaction that happened on Halloween, which just added, by the way, to the look of it all. Like my eyes were getting real red. Like they were like, yo, your outfit's awesome. And I was like, I know, I'm crying and dying inside. So by Halloween night, I was super sick. So sick that I've called into work for 2 days, which is crazy because I don't like to call into work. But I also figured that, you know what? I have learned that my body is more important than a paycheck. And so calling into work and making sure that, you know, myself is more important than working myself to death is very important. And that I wish other people would take a cue from that and fight for their rights and stand up for it. You know,
I feel
just
attacked.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. So anyway, so then last night, after sleeping for most of yesterday, we went over to the grandfather slash uncle's house. Quick recap for anybody who doesn't know, grandfather died, the house went to the uncle. And we signed the paperwork. So I now have a house.
Yay!
Yes.
Congratulations.
It hasn't quite sunk in yet. We're just more like ticked that it took so long. That and of course, like he signs it on November 1st and it's like, well, aren't you guys moving in this weekend? And we're like, go f yourself. Like, you asshole, this was supposed to have been signed 2 weeks ago, so we could have like had time to move stuff. No, we're not moving till the 15th. So we're going to take part of this month to slowly move our stuff over because, of course, Trevor has all of his stuff to do. He not only has grad school, he has the business, but he also has all of his comp exams to go take, and they're all due within a week and a half. We're supposed to get the car at some point next week. Like, it's all fallen into this little zone. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're not moving this weekend. And he's like, oh, all right, I guess. And I was like, no, like, no, guys, we're going to slowly move over the next like 2 weeks because no, you guys have waited to the last second for everything. So we're now, and because the way we sign the house is that we are renting to own. So for the first year, we rent it, but the bank account was never set up by the lawyer. So now we have to go and figure out the whole escrow bank account and get that all situated because, and I hope he doesn't listen, but we don't quite trust that they're going to just keep the money because we're supposed to use the year of rent as the down payment for the house.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes into an account that doesn't get touched by either of us, and then it gets used as the down payment for the house, and all of his money is then given to him all in one go. We don't trust that he'll leave it in the account if we don't set up a proper account. So, or not him, his wife. So yeah.
Get a high yield savings account at somewhere like Ally and just put the money in there and send them a bank statement every month to show you're putting money in it.
Yeah, it's not how he wants it done. He either wants it as a personal account or an escrow account.
Oh, okay. Yeah, do an escrow account. Well,
yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of now trying to get that set up with here's the first month and the security deposit, but like if it's not in there, we'll know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that. My writing has taken a little bit of a backseat, mostly because I was sick like a dog yesterday. And like, if anyone has ever had a sinus infection, you know, it's all like nose to right under the eyeballs. That just is like, it feels, if you've ever been punched in the face, that is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I've been punched in the face a few times. I worked as a bouncer. And I have a little sister. So oh yeah. So it definitely feels like you get punched in the face, but it's not like, oh, you got punched in the face once. It's like I keep getting punched in the face every hour or so. So yeah. So yesterday was not a very big writing day for me. I did look up a few things that I needed for the story that I hadn't gotten around to looking up. And I picked out some names and I went down a rabbit hole, really bad rabbit hole, because I'm writing prehistoric. And I mean, like, I'm writing 100,000 years in the past for this because my anthropology is really coming out and I really want to write this story because I honestly think that this is why we have elves and dwarves and like all these other mythical creatures is because we used to have other humanoid creatures around us. So we had Neanderthals, we had Desanovans, we had Homo florenses, we had all of these other people who had distinct qualities. And I think that in our heads, we came up with, well, they're not us, but they're also not us. And we came up with these stories of what they did and how they lived. And that got passed down over the generations. And now we consider that there are dwarves in mythologies and elves and giants. And you know what? They probably were people and they probably were around. It's the same that like so many like dragons. The skull of a dragon was found. It turned out it was a mammoth. All right. Does kind of look like a dragon. So like there's things that our mythologies have created that, yes, clearly this is something from a past, and we carried stories down for thousands of years, and that is how we have told stories. I mean, the oldest story is still found in Australia. And a version of it is told throughout the world in different ways, but the oldest story, as it dates back to its original form, is found in Australia. In case you wanted to know.
Well, that's cool. I'll have to ask my fiance about it.
Yep. It's the 7 stars or the 7 daughters. Just depends on where it goes through. But yeah, it's this really, depending on what culture, sweet story. And then some of it's very rapey, and then some of it's just like men need to keep their penises to themselves.
You know how hard that is?
Apparently very difficult because the oldest story talks about how a guy really wanted these daughters and they all kept fleeing from him and they vanished to the stars in order to get away from him.
That is a little stalkerish.
Yeah.
So.
And then he stares at them all night long. Like that's one of the versions of the story. There are other stories where like the stars have come down. That's the 7 daughters of the universe, and they've helped humanity and they've fallen in love with a guy, and each one has fallen in love, but then was like trapped in the stars because their dad didn't want them to be in love. Like there's all versions, but a lot of them are, hey, pretty girl. And she's like, yeah, no. And he's like, I don't take no for an answer. And she's like, well, I guess I gotta go banish myself to the universe. So.
Well, you got a home. Congratulations.
Thanks.
What are you going to do about internet?
I have a slightly faster internet, maybe.
Maybe?
We'll see how it works.
Okay.
I
Is it
mean, it's
cable?
Spectrum.
Spectrum. Okay. Yeah, cable. Okay.
So we'll see how it works.
Okay. Well, the internet that was Spectrum when I was with you last week was perfectly acceptable. So.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, what's Spectrum? I was like,
In the
where was I
Airbnb.
doing a Zoom call? Yeah, I know. I got you. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we do have one little announcement to make. Do we want to do that now, or do we want to make it a separate recording?
We could do it now.
Okay. Go for it.
All right. So we're going to go on a little bit of a hiatus, mostly because I am moving. I am in the process of packing up a house, well, packing up an apartment and moving into our hopefully forever home, which is going to take a little bit of time to do. I'm pretty sure it'll take most of this month to get everything unpacked / packed and moved and settled. And then VE is also doing a really big manuscript that he is working on. So I really don't want to take away from time, because he only has 3 days off because he doesn't know how to tell his job no, and that his health matters. So he only has 3 days off a week that he can work at his job, or not work, that he can work on the manuscript. So we're going to take a little bit of a hiatus in order to catch up on life things. And of course, the holidays are coming up and things get really hectic around the holidays anyway.
That's why I
So
call it silly season.
yeah. So why try to fit in recordings that aren't going to be as high of quality because we're going to be rushing? So instead, we're going to take a hiatus, probably come back sometime, what, January, February?
Yeah, I think February we'll spend January recording and getting a backlog. We try to record with a 5 or 6 episode backlog so that we have time to take a week off if we need to. That's why we do these personal updates separately. Those can be timely and I can just throw them up. Whereas I don't want to be doing that every 2 weeks with our regular episodes. I want those done and dusted so that you guys get get the content that you want on schedule like we promised. So, and the personal updates are lower priority. So if we get one made, we get one made. And if not, not the end of the universe. So,
Yeah.
That's kind of our attitude about this, but we want to make sure that the formal episodes, the numbered episodes that we bring you are high quality episodes that that are worth your time, because we do try and respect the time that you spend with us. So we'll probably be back in February. That would be my best guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we did really good about keeping the backlog for a while there. It was just these last 2 months that we fell off the wagon. But life
yeah,
happens, guys.
life happens. Yeah, I went to Cleveland for a conference, and then I went to New York for something, I forget what. And
And you went to Australia.
and I went to Australia. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was that. I went to Australia for 2 weeks. So so this is why we want the backlog. But so we're gonna get our backlog back together and come back to you guys refreshed and ready. So
Ooh, maybe I'll do an office tour. We'll put like an actual YouTube video up of me
oh,
like office tour in my new house.
that'd
I'm
be
so
good.
excited. I can paint the walls if I want to. I've never been able to paint the walls whatever fucking color I want. And now I can paint the walls. And now my brain's like, but there's so many options. So I'm going to have to be really choosy about what I want to paint in my office. So it's not going to get painted yet. It's going to get like cleaned walls. I think it's blue. I think that the walls are blue right now. But I'm excited and I'm going to get to design it however I want. And maybe I'll do like a in between. Here's my, Hugolit office. So
Well, maybe we'll come up with a special episode, and we won't be completely gone. We may wind up doing personal updates between now and then to keep everybody sort of in the loop about what's going on with us. But we think after episode 37 we're going to be on hiatus. So
yes.
Episode 37 is going to be a lot of fun. We have a returning guest and a really great conversation. So
Great way to end our year.
yes, I think that's going to be the way we do it. So anyway, that's our story. We're sticking to it.
All right. Well, that's all I've got.
All righty. Well, then we will talk to everybody next time. Bye.
Stay magical.